Hey everybody, it's Mama. Welcome back to Mama's Zodi Tarot. So today we are doing a past life reading on Justin Bieber. I figure it was really about time that we get into him, even though I was kind of putting it off because I feel like it might be heavy, but these past life readings are just so that we can get a glimpse into why these celebrities behave the way that they do. You know, why do people act the way that they do on a soul level? Is there something more connected to then, you know, that they're connecting to more than just this current life that they're living that could explain their behavior, you know, and why they do what they do, and just see what's going on in terms of their evolution and their soul growth. All right, so that's why we do the past life readings. Let's jump right in to Justin Bieber, starting with his soul's archetype. So on a soul level, we have hedonist, mystic, slave, and then I got the stop card. So the stop card obviously is empty. It doesn't have anything on it. So it told me that there's, on a soul level, he feels empty. On a soul level, he feels like there's a part of him that is missing. And remember that these are just qualities that he's always going to feel and experience and deal with no matter what across the board in all his lives. He's going to deal with feeling alone, feeling empty, feeling like there's something missing deep within inside of him. We also have slave. So having issues with trust, you know, believing in people, trusting in people, and them taking advantage of his trust and abusing his trust, or sometimes being afraid to, you know, make his own choices and be empowered, so he allows himself to be a slave to another person, or just being so, you know, just a slave to anything so much that you will, he basically serves higher masters. He's always going to be serving a higher master and being some sort of, having an element of being some sort of slave in all of his past lives and having to surrender himself and trust in another person. But he has to figure out how to conquer that so that way he don't, you know, surrender his power to just anybody and just be a slave to any kind of agenda. We also have mystic. So he is definitely a mystic, has a very intimate union with the divine, which is crazy because I asked him one of the questions, like, was he a monk, a mystic, or someone devoted to spiritual service in this or any other lifetime? So this is telling me that yes, on a soul level, he is a mystic, and this is what he's here to do, to have that relationship, connect with his ancestors, connect with the divine, get messages. He is a, you know, a medium, a channel. He's a Pisces, so that totally makes sense. And then we lastly have hedonist. So he's always going to have that beautiful sexual energy, that creative energy. He's always going to have that duality where people will try to abuse him and, you know, take advantage of him and use him for his sexual nature. But he also can use his own pleasure to his own detriment, right? And overindulge in things, not thinking about how much it can hurt himself or hurt other people. So there's just a lot when it comes to him on a light side, having a lot of creative energy and being a mystic and being connected with the divine. But on the shadow side, feeling like there's a part of him that's missing, and he always has to be a slave to other people's agendas and what they want him to do. Wow. So stuff he's dealing with on a soul level, you guys. Let's see about in this past life that we're looking into. What was his personality? It feels like he was led by a false prophet, pretty much, with this mentor and guide and beggar. It was like he, you know, was looking for someone to come in and pretty much rescue him and save him and mentor him, and that person was a guide to him, but this person was a false priest. But this priest coming out in reverse, they was a charlatan. They was actually teaching him a lot of dark demonic stuff with this trickster out here. They had a trickster energy about them, and unfortunately he adopted those same behaviors and turned into a trickster mentor guide as well, and was out here playing people and placing his own financial gain over really truly giving people true spiritual insights. Like, he was a charlatan, like out here pretending like, if you know, just faking. I don't know why though, because he had a real gift, so he really didn't have to do this. He didn't have to pretend, but he chose to be a false priest with this priest coming out in reverse and violate the trust of his own spiritual community. Like, he allowed himself to be seduced by his own spiritual role and treat people badly, take advantage of people that was in need with this beggar. Oh God, like, don't tell me he was really at Joel Osteen type, who was at the top of the who was on the TV. This is kind of what I'm picking up here, y'all, like a TV energy, like somebody being on the TV screen and saying, well, God loves you, and you know, if you send me this $20.99 and you buy my miracle spring water, God gonna save you and he gonna make you good, he gonna make you whole again. Like, it's that kind of thing. Where it feels like, yeah, he started off as a beggar and he ended up getting a mentor who was like, yo, I know a way that you could become a priest and you can actually get all this money, you can get all this stuff. And he was like, all right, I'll do it. But it involved being a fake and faking his spiritual gifts and not being real. So that's weird. Or like if he did offer spiritual services, like you would come to his house or to his shop, his spiritual shop, and there'll be all kind of fake hocus pocus stuff happening, and you'll be hearing voices, but it's all orchestrated and fake, like it's not real. That's the kind of energy that it gives me with him. Oh boy. But he was taught this by someone else. Like there was someone else who mentored him and gave him this idea. All right, let's see about the contracts that he came into in this past life that we're looking into. Boundless love, beyond boundaries, stardust memories, and serenity within. So he came in with the soul contract of really trying to achieve a more peaceful, calm life and inner stability. He was really supposed to get all of his emotions under control, which tells us that prior to this past life we're looking into, he was never really able to get that peace and that balance that he was looking for. He never fulfilled his contract and did everything that he was supposed to do with this beyond boundaries. It was like all of those all of the things from his past contract was just spiraled back into this contract, and he was being given another chance to get it done and break free from whatever was holding him back from accomplishing it and finishing it before. Further emphasized by stardust memories, he was replaying out a past life. This was a certain specific past life that he was recalling. It wasn't immediate before though. It wasn't the one that he immediately came from. It was a different one that he was being put back into because he never closed out and finished out cycles there, and he needed to come back and close out all of that. And with this boundless love, it had to do with him getting a chance to have unconditional love and have the partner that he wanted and really be able to share his love with the world and receive that love back in return. What were the karmic lessons? Compassion, connect to intuition, and obligation. Yeah, so he already came into it, feeling like he was a servant, like he was a slave, obviously. And so he had karmic wounds surrounding feeling obligated to other people, always catering to others and their expectations and not really doing what made him happy. Also connecting to his intuition. He was having repeat patterns that he was following over and over and over. It was the same cycle, and he was never choosing to break free, with this beyond boundaries and allow himself to do what really made him happy. And then compassion. So he was supposed to be compassionate to himself and give himself a break. Instead, he was out here bullying himself, and in turn, he was allowing other people to bully him. So those were the karmic lessons that he came into this past life with. But I keep wanting to stick on his stardust memories that there was a past life that he, was re-experiencing again, that he was coming back to close out those cycles. But if he was paying attention and in tune with his intuition, then he would have been able to awaken those stardust memories, right? Awaken the fact that he had been here before so that he can go back to closing out that cycle that he was supposed to close out. Remember how I told you, sometimes you come in and you be chasing the past and you're not supposed to be? In this case, he was. He was actually supposed to chase his past and go back and close out a cycle. There was unfinished business and loose ends that he needed to tie up. So there was that. All right, let's see about his personality. Of course, age, location, who, what, where, why, all that good stuff. Okay, so he was another one that was an orphan. Phobias, Celtic, mother, and knighthood. Okay, so he definitely came into this life with certain phobias. Let's really quickly just see what those phobias were surrounding, because it's not being specific here. Definitely with, like I said, feeling empty, feeling like there was something missing. He was an orphan in his past life. He confirmation, lost his mother here. This mother is the same mother that he's experiencing now in this current life. But what is the phobias? Fire, we have rat, and then we have ink pot. So I think that his phobias are around, going through stress, going through troubles, going through a lot of traumatic events, and feeling like his reputation is stained, his life is stained, like having all of those heartbreaks and pains and not being able to get over it. So I think with the phobia, he was afraid of like dangerous situations and scary situations. We do have fire here, so he was definitely afraid of fire. Could have possibly died in a fire in his previous life, or dealt with some sort of death involving burning, or something more spiritual like rituals. So he could, it's kind of giving me, Salem witch trials energy. So he could have been had somebody running around chasing him with a torch. Either way, he did not like fire. And then we also have rat. So he had a mistrust in people. He didn't really trust people. He didn't have a lot of friends. He felt like a lot of his phobias came from being in dangerous situations, having people working against him, having people doing stuff to him, harming him behind his back, taking advantage of him, and possibly literal fire. Not just fiery, dangerous situations, but fire, literally. Okay, so those were his phobias. We also have Celtic, so he has those Druid Celtic roots. Was definitely around during that time, had a past life, there, has Irish, Druid roots. And then we have mother. So like I said, he lost his mother in his past life, but he was brought back here now in another past life to experience that same mother again. And unfortunately, he lost her. So now he has her again in his current life. So this is three. I'm sorry, y'all. And it's so crazy because when I was picking out cards, 3 different months came out. And I was like, why did 3 months came out? 3 is significant to this reading. So he had this past life, the same mother, the life before that he was being brought back into to close out the cycles was with that same mother. And in this current life, he's dealing with the same mother. So he has karmic lessons and wounds surrounding abandonment issues when it comes to his mother, him not feeling love, him not having his mother, her not taking care of him, not being there for him, whether it's because she died or she gave him up for adoption or she didn't take care of him, whatever the case may be. He has issues surrounding not feeling protected by his mother and cared for by his mother. And those same wounds was playing out in his past life. Right? And he was coming back to deal with that and close out certain of those cycles, not be afraid, acknowledge those fears, stand tall, do what makes him happy. Right? With this knighthood, he was being a people pleaser. He was always serving other people on what they want, and he continued to do so even in his past life. I think that he was a soldier. He definitely went to bat. He went to battle. He went to war with this knighthood, but that was just a small piece of things, right? That just made further emphasize his nature of him being so devoted to what it is that he's told to do. He has that militant servitude type of personality where he's like, the best soldier that you could ask for. He's always going to do what it is that he's told. Yeah, he's a good soldier. So that all, was affecting his personality. And I think also with this knighthood, it further emphasizes with the orphan that he grew up poor. He didn't really have it. He wasn't like one of the big authority figures or big people in terms of the society, but he worked his way up. All right, with this knighthood, he worked his way up to being somebody more important. He went through the ranks. We also have jackpot, karmic friends, cock blocking, dusted off, creativity, and clout hungry. So yeah, he dealt with a lot of backstabbers, a lot of karmic friends, a lot of people who was using him with this jackpot, seeing him as a way to come up, seeing him as a way to make money. Like that's why he had already dealt with that in the previous life. That's why he didn't trust people and want to do other people's bidding, because he's always dealing with traitors and rats and two-faced friends. So here he goes again, being put back into the life of these same karmic friends is what they're saying here. They put him back around his enemies, right? They put a lot of his enemies to be close friends and be around him in his life to see what he was going to do. Was he going to block him out, or was he just going to dust it off and keep these people in his life? So this what his whole life was all about, was him closing out those karmic cycles with people that had played him and took advantage of him and used him in the past, and seeing whether or not he was going to allow that to happen again, whether he was going to let people steal off of him, feed off of him, use him, whether he was going to take all of that drama with this clout hungry just for the sake of having friends, having people around, and possibly this is given that he was a celebrity with this clout hungry. Yeah, he had celebrity energy. Definitely was some sort of a household name celebrity. Like I said, he was either on the TV, something. He was definitely a celebrity. All right, and he had people feeding off of him, using him, copying his ideas, siphoning off his creativity. He had a very creative nature. All right, we have Pig coming out sideways, so he had issues when it came to money and greed. All right, when it comes to his personality, and that's probably part of the reason why he couldn't dust off some of those karmic friends, because he felt like there was ways that things that he could get off of them with his jackpot. Arrow coming out sideways, fair woman coming out in reverse. Yeah, so this was all about him wanting to see his life go up, and his mom, losing his mom, him having those codependency issues and those karmic wounds surrounding losing his mother and feeling lonely and being an orphan, and him wanting to see his life go better. Right, but this arrow being sideways, he just wanted to go up and have prosperity, abundance, happiness. He wanted his life to go better, and he felt like a lot was lacking from his life. It says you are on the right path regarding some aspect of your life, but that's coming out sideways. So he felt like things weren't going in his way. It wasn't fair, and he wasn't experiencing that prosperity that he wanted. So he got greedy, and that's how he was able to get this, what he wanted. With bird flying, news is on the way. Purse, yeah, he wasn't. Purse coming out in reverse, eagle in reverse, and then like I said, we had 3 months that came out: January, February, and December. December, January, February. These is all 3 months that's consecutively after each other. I'll have to figure out what the significance of this is, you guys, because I pulled these 3 cards out, and all 3 of them was months, and I didn't understand why. I pulled them all from 3 different parts of the deck. And it's 3 consecutive months, December, January, and February. So it's something about the winter time and the winter being significant. He could have been born in the winter time, either in December, January, or February. But I am seeing that, he wasn't able to, with this equal coming out in reverse, he was never able to look at things from a higher perspective and understand that he didn't have to go down a road of being money hungry and being greedy when it came to getting his finances. He was just so ready to have all that he was looking at those people that was around him as the jackpot and seeing what he could get off of them and increase his money, not knowing that a lot of those people weren't going to treat him fairly, that they didn't want him paying attention to his finances. They wanted to control him. They wanted to take advantage of him. And so what he thought was good news, they're telling me basically what he thought was good news in his life turned out to be bad news. So let's see about his childhood to adult years. Childhood to adult years. Okay, it already starts off with the heartache and the pain, the suffering. Him losing his mother, having sleepless nights over her with his 5 of swords, being all up in his head, thinking about her, feeling unprotected, like there's nobody to take care of him. He's all alone out here in this world with the 9 of Wands and the Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, he went through a lot of pain and heartbreak. He felt like he was alone. He had nobody. Financially, he was struggling and suffering. He was always constantly thinking about what he was going to do to improve his life. He felt like, woe is me. He just felt so depressed and sad and unhappy. And then there was a certain point when, he was getting older and he was becoming an adult, and he realized that things weren't going to just, things were going to stay the same if he didn't do anything, if he didn't start making some progress. It's like he was, he was real slow moving when it came to making decisions and when it came to his life, because he didn't have a lot growing up. See how this person is walking with no shoes on? Like, he didn't have much. So he realized that in order to get the stability, the foundation to be grounded and have, a life, happiness, money, a house, children, to be able to feed himself, all this stuff, he was going to have to get his head screwed on straight. He was going to have to get out of his head and come up with some ideas to make this happen. And like I said, somebody came along, a mentor with this Knight of Pentacles, that said, I'll guide you, I'll lead you, I'll show you how you can, I'll show you how, just surrender and believe in me and trust me. And I got all these ideas of how you can make money and be that main man and be the guy that you want to be with this Ace of Swords. All right. So I feel like with this Hangman, they're saying that he had to release to something that is not necessarily bad, but that he used for bad, because this is it still is about divine judgment and divine light and divine guidance. So I think that ultimately he aligned himself with being a guide, he aligned himself with being a priest, but he wasn't an authentic one. The next question that I asked was, did he have a karmic pattern of being exploited for his talents? Knight of Cups, 6 of Pentacles, 4 of Swords, 3 of Pentacles, the Hermit, and the 7 of Cups. Yes, absolutely. Because like I said, he had spiritual gifts, and he had the gift of gab, and he had a lot of romance and charm about him. Remember, he came out as the hedonist, very much beautiful and sexual in nature. And wait, you know what? What's so crazy? I ain't even gonna lie, you guys. I think Justin Bieber was a woman in his life. As I'm looking at all this. The Knight of Cups with the 6 of Pentacles and the 4. This was a woman. Don't ask me how I know, y'all. Because I just know. And now I'm looking back at the orphan card and this little girl on here. And losing a mother. That was tough. Justin was a girl. This wasn't a man. This was a girl. All right. And so basically somebody was like, I have a way that you can use that charming nature that you have, that beautiful nature. You know how pretty and beautiful you are. It's like you can charm people by being pretty much a spiritual charlatan. You could pretend like you have all these spiritual gifts. Like, he was Miss Cleo. This is what he was. He was Miss Cleo on the TV screen pretending to people. I'm not necessarily sure that he was on the TV screen, but he was known, very, very, very well known for what it is that he could do with this 6 of Pentacles. People was shelling out a lot of money to him when they was going through heartbreaking situations, when they needed healing. They came to him for healing with this 4 of Swords. Yes. But the people who he was working with behind closed doors was the one who told him, listen, you don't really have to truly go on your own spiritual journey with the Hermit and the 7 of Cups. You could still, embellishes certain things. You can lie a little bit. Like, you don't always have to fully be honest and tell the truth. Like, you can fabricate certain things and tell them that it's going to be a little bit better than what it's going to be, and you can make up things. And there's so many different creative ways and options you can spin stuff in order to get people to, you know, work with you. So this is what he was. He was a spiritual charlatan, and but as a female, and she was using her sexual nature and her gifts to get people to come and get readings from her and get, you know, spend their money to get a reading and find out what was going on. Ooh, I'm gonna tell you about your future. She had a Ouija board and all that different stuff, but the whole time she was just playing with people. And this was a network of people that she was working with to do this with. Yeah, she wasn't working alone. She, as in Justin Bieber, like with JB, she was not working alone to do this. She had other people that was helping her to do this, and it was like a whole Ponzi scheme out here. This was a whole masterminded scheme. This is crazy, to make money off of people and pretend and lie when it comes to spiritual gifts. That is crazy, y'all. All right, let's go back to the next question. I said, what was his adulthood like? Because we know about his childhood up until his adulthood. Let's see about his actual adulthood leading up to his, you know, his DEIS. Like, what was his adulthood like? 7 of Pentacles, death and rebirth, King of Swords, oh my God, 3 of Cups, 5 of Wands, the World, the Moon, and 6 of Wands. Okay, so basically it's another Miss Cleo situation, y'all. I keep telling you. So 7 of Pentacles and the 5 of Wands, all of the work that he was doing, all of the lies he was telling, the alchemy, the, you know, all the it was like he was a fixer too. He could help people get out of their situations. Like, he was doing different, people was coming from near and far, yo. You don't even understand. I'm talking about, like, celebrities was coming to him. This is how he even got so, because everybody was working on him and believing in him, and he was telling them about their fortune and their future, and this is what's gonna happen, and here is this new, I just saw it, you know, I looked in my mind's eye and this is what I saw. Like like, that's what he was doing. And although they're saying that he had gifts with this King of Swords, instead he allowed the people that he was working with to lead him astray with this 3 of Cups and 5 of Wands. And it's like he was in such competition and he wanted to be the best, that he was going too far. He was telling lies, he was taking people money, he wanted everything, he wanted all the accolades, and ego was driving him to being like, he wanted to be the only guy, the best priest. So that's why I say he was seduced by his own spiritual role with this priest here coming out in reverse. Yeah, he got seduced, and it was like he, you know, he/she wanted to be the best and didn't care, even though they had true gifts, about standing in that truth, standing in that honesty, standing in that the clarity that they had. It's like he didn't mind telling lies in order, you know, in this moon, making people believe in all kind of illusions and shit like that in order for him to make his money. But with the World, the Moon, and the 6 of Wands, this is telling me that something came to the light. The people that he was working with, they turned his back on him. That's why. Okay, now we see why Purse came out in reverse. The bird flying, the fair woman, the same women, the same people that he was working with worked against him. They was greedy and they wanted the money all to themselves. So when stuff hit the fan, it's like they turned on him. There was some sort of legal battle that happened. I don't know what this was about, but there was a legal battle that happened. And everybody turned his world upside down. They turned on him. They kept all of their deeds under the surface, and he was the sacrifice with this 6 of Wands. He was the one who was the one in the spotlight who had to go down for all of the shit that he was doing with the other people that he was working with. And those people didn't end up going down. Yo, that's crazy. That is crazy. Them people didn't even end up going down. So I guess that's what this is about with the December, January, and February. Now I'm starting to see. Boy, this is. So who was January? In fact, was that Kris Jenner? This is going to have some connection to Kris Jenner's reading too. They saying, but yeah, he was a spiritual charlatan out here playing people. He was connected with other people. That was a, you know. He was connected with certain people that he's still connected with currently in this life and working with them to do this stuff, and they turned on him all back then. Yup. And now he's currently dealing with them in his current life. And so he's got all kind of karmic people around him, okay, in his life, from this life that we're looking into right now, as well as a past life previous to that. Boy, oh boy. The next question that I asked is, was he a monk, a mystic, or someone devoted to spiritual service? Well, we already know he was supposed to be, but he was pretending. He wasn't doing what he was supposed to do. When it comes to that, we got groupie, marrying for money, played out, thief, and carless. Bro, he had a bunch of people following him. With this groupie, he had a bunch of excuse me, people following him. But as a woman, like, she had all these women that was like, I trust you, I believe in you. Like, now it's giving me Shira 7 vibes. where it was like sprinkle, and everybody was trusting her, and she was telling them, this is how you should behave, this is what you should do, this is how you can get love, like this is how you can get that. She was always telling these people, oh, you're going to end up marrying for money, you're going to get this, but it was played out, it was lies. She was lying to people. She couldn't really tell. And with this thief and Carlos, her gifts were not improving. There was a cap on her gifts. That's why the clout hungry came out, because after a point she was just making anything up and saying anything to these people, because she was not doing the spiritual work to even grow, right? With this Carla, she wasn't moving forward or going anywhere when it came to her spiritual journey. Justin Bieber, she was just sitting up here lying to people, stealing from people, telling them all type of BS, stealing, robbing them of their money, and then wondering why things was not going to work out for her. It's because she was lying to people. She was a spiritual. Justin Bieber was a whole spiritual. Yes, they was a mystic, but a spiritual charlatan out here, was not properly devoted to his spiritual services and what he was supposed to be doing. And then I asked if he was a spiritual or religious leader in any other lifetimes aside from this one that we looking into. And it's like ignoring, screenshot, fishing for compliments, looking you up, and always partying in reverse. Yes, he has. But this time they saying that in this current life he ignored what it is that he was supposed to be doing. He knew what he was supposed to be doing. He had the proof and the evidence, and instead he was, with this fishing for compliments and looking you up, he's still, and always partying, coming out in reverse, he was still looking for those people to be his friend. Those karmic friends that he was supposed to leave in the past and cock block them out and leave them out and dust them off. No, he was still looking for their approval. He was still looking for them to be his friend. He still wanted them to like him and love him and all that good stuff. So instead of blocking that out, he ignored his true spiritual path and chose to align himself with darkness just to get friends, just to have people to be around. And he was supposed to be going on his own and doing this by himself. Like, it wasn't about partying and having fun. It was about being a real spiritual leader and being a role model with just looking you up, being somebody that people could look up to. And instead, he chose to just be false with their screenshot and fishing for compliments, to ignore his true path and do fake shit. And just be making up all kind of lies with this fishing for compliments to tell people. That's crazy. Wow. All right, so I next asked about his love life. What was his love life like? Casket, tree in reverse, carrot in reverse, haystack in reverse, march in reverse, older man in reverse, tower and ladder. So I feel like he chose to focus on his success with this tower and ladder. He chose to focus on building the foundation of having money and having success and having all of the accolades. And he didn't allow himself to be really distracted by love, because the person that he really wanted and his mother, it seems like everybody that he truly loved, he didn't have them around with this casket. Someone going out of your life for the end of a situation. He wasn't able to have the true love that he wanted, just like he lost his mother. So he was kind of bitter and scorned when it came towards the energy of love, and he wasn't really open to love opportunities with this carrot coming out in reverse. He wasn't trying to be, into his sexual nature or being like a bunny habit, hopping around, sleeping around. Nope. He really wasn't involved. And then we have haystack and march coming out in reverse. So it's like he didn't want children. With this haystack coming out here in karma, he didn't want children. He didn't want to build a family. He didn't want to continue on his bloodline. It's like he wanted to end his bloodline right there. He didn't want to see his life continue to march on with this March coming out. Oh, he's also born in March. But we have older man coming out in reverse. So this is telling me that he possibly didn't even get old enough. So we're going to have to see when we get to the energy of his death. It's like older man coming out in reverse. Did he not really grow old and even get a chance to change his mind and want to have a wife and have children and do all this, because he, unfortunately, with this casket, died before he could even get to the point of having a true solid foundation of love? He was still trying to climb the ladder of success. That's what this is basically giving me. Wow. He didn't even get to have a true love life. So I next asked, did he have any karmic relations with Hailey? Like, was there any karmic contract associated with Hailey in his past life? Yes, we know that. Wedding, stay optimistic about your love life, romantic feelings, let go of control issues, and engagement. Yes. So they were supposed to, with Hailey in his past life, it's feeling like they were supposed to go to that higher level of commitment, okay, and let the situation unfold naturally and have a wedding. They were supposed to be optimistic. They had a lot of romantic feelings for each other, so that's interesting, because I never expected to see this. I'm shocked. Hailey was like a past life soulmate of his, but not a soulmate, but okay, they said not a soulmate, but a new lover, somebody that he could have opened himself up to in that past life, if he was able to, let the situation unfold naturally and let go of whatever control issues he had when it came to love and all of those, the fact that he was suppressing his romantic feelings and acting like he wasn't open up to love because his his mom died, but this is different because now you got this flip where Hailey was the man, right? Hailey was the man. Hailey was the man, and oh right, remember older man came out in reverse. Hailey was the older man. Oh Lord, so Hailey was older. He was supposed to. He didn't want her. Justin Bieber as a woman did not want to go with this older man. She did not want to marry him. She did not have, the feelings was not mutual for him. Even though this was a chance for him to have this love, Justin Bieber didn't want it. But yes, he does. He had a romantic soul contract with Hailey in his past life, and they were supposed to get married, get engaged, get married, have a higher level of commitment. But let's see, did they ever get around to doing it? Like, because it is, I just want to make sure, did they ever get around to actually doing this? Did they ever get around to actually doing this? Yes, they tell me yes. Release your ex. Yeah, the time has come to clear your energy. Yes, but in this lifetime, he's supposed to be releasing her. Yeah. They went ahead and got married in this past life, but the situation was not able to unfold naturally. There was control dynamics here. All right, there was an element of force when it comes to this wedding and this engagement and this marriage. And with this release your ex, he was still stuck on his ex even when he got with her. He did get married to Hailey. Oh Lord, don't tell me this is the same situation now, because I asked about Selena next. So don't tell me he married Hailey and was still stuck on Selena. What about Selena? Did you have one with Selena? Getting to know each other, playfulness, yup, codependency, free yourself, and it is safe to love coming out of reverse. Yes, this is the same situation that's playing out in his current life, played out in his past life, where Selena was taken from him. But also, like I said, they codependent and toxic. They are soulmates from a past life. Unlike him and Hailey, him and Selena is past life soulmates. All right, and they are with this getting to know each other. They already know their innermost selves about each other. That's why they got the playfulness, the lightheartedness. This is all about their codependent relationship that they have right now. These are the same cards that came out in the reading that I did for them in this current life. That's coming out in their past life. It was the same thing, and he was supposed to take control of his life and end up with her in that past life, but it didn't work because guess what? He had codependency wounds. He was never able to face the karmic wounds that he was dealing with. They never took the time. They both sabotaged this relationship, both of them. All right, and it was never able to happen. And so yes, he had karmic. The same situation that's playing out in this life, y'all, played out in the past life between him and Selena and him and Hailey. It's the same thing. So let's see about his death. That's also telling me that oh boy, that's also telling me that when it came to this past life that he had where he married Hailey, they was not happy. They was not happy. I just want to ask real quick, because I don't think they was happy. Was he happy? Nope. Diamond coming out in reverse, angel, and then beetle. It's like, no, he had the money, he had the good fortune. Okay, but with this diamond coming out in reverse, that wasn't the one that he wanted. That wasn't the woman that he truly loved in the first place. And he just kind of settled pretty much to being with her. Yeah, scales. Keep your life. His life was in balance when he was with her. His life was with scales coming out in reverse. His life was very much imbalanced, and he felt like he was being emotionally manipulated by her, is what they're saying. All right, but let's, it was not a very happy marriage. Let's see about his death. I don't feel like he got old with older men. Even though he was a woman, with that older man coming out of us, I think he didn't get old. So let's see. Energy surrounding his death. Travel, runaway, money, accident, devil, spouse or partner, female, and fire. So didn't I say this man has phobias when it comes to fire? And then don't you tell me that it happened again? Yeah, he still currently got those phobias. Or about rituals, right? With this fire. Let me ask real quick. Because now I want to know. Was this a physical fire? Was this a physical fire, or was this like a ritual type thing? The tower. Yeah, not the tower. It was like you burnt the whole shit down. But then, excuse me, that could also be, spiritual work. That could also be ritual. Damn, I hate when these cards be telling me they're mimicking the same things here. But y'all, it's one of the two. It could have started off as something, done involving, rituals and fire and spell work, and then it turned into a literal, manifested as an accidental fire. But it's like something that somebody did. They tried to make it like his death was an accident, but it was planned. It was on purpose with this fire. It was not an accident. His murder was definitely premeditated. With this tower coming out here, somebody wanted to cause a disaster for him, and I feel like, with this further emphasizing the fire, set him on fire, set his house on fire, something of that sort, in order to get rid of him. And it was his spouse or partner because she wanted his money. This was so she could get the life insurance. God damn, this is what this is giving. Runaway and spouse and partner. And listen, it was like he was trying to leave this woman. He didn't want to be with her no more. She did some devilish stuff, some demonic stuff. She was attached to some dark stuff. And she was like, yo, I know how I can, make sure that I'm still able to get his money even after he passed away, and still be able to move forward and live my life the way that I want to live it. All I got to do is get a life insurance policy on him, and then have this accidental fire happen. And then when he die, I'm going to get this payout. I'm going to get this money. That's basically what I'm saying there. That's freaking crazy. That is freaking crazy. That she just, oh my God, Hailey is horrible. So I asked, did he fulfill his contract? Did he actually fulfill his soul contract? Most likely not. No, he was assassinated before he could. Legal proceedings, and then his character was being assassinated because, like I said, he was a spiritual charlatan. There was some legal issues that he was dealing with towards the end of his life. I can't make it up. Home and life insurance. He was killed for the life insurance policy. Oh my God. Trapped and healing. Celebrity and hidden. Bro. I can't make it up. This man died at home as a celebrity. He did not fulfill his contract. No. And this is telling me that now he really came back. Now from that past life into this life, he came right through. He didn't experience no gaps between that. They brought him right back from that to here in 1994 when he was in his mom belly. He was born. That's the one where he went straight, because his character was assassinated and played with because of the things that he was choosing to do. He wasn't making good choices and good decisions, and the ancestors said, "Now you got to come back and fix that." Then you got the fact that I knew it. She got him for a life insurance policy. He got killed at home, and he was trapped and stuck with this woman. He's got to set himself free. They give him another chance to heal this wound, set himself free, and stop hiding and be the true, real celebrity that he's supposed to be, which is being a spiritual priestess, a leader. But he's sitting out here hiding in plain sight by pretending that he's that he's just a heartthrob who's out here to sing music for us. No, he has a way deeper spiritual mission than that. He's supposed to be a guide, a leader, a mentor. He's supposed to be teaching us about having a connection with the divine, following God and really listening. Like, that's what he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be a priest. That's it. A real, true priest. That's the type of celebrity he's supposed to be. Not a fake Miss Cleo, but a real one, like how I am. But instead, he's choosing to hide all of that in plain sight and hide behind an image and wear a mask. And now, unfortunately, that's how it's playing out in this current life. So they're saying that no, he didn't fulfill his contract, and he's got to keep doing that until he acknowledges those wounds and acknowledges those reptilian ass people that he keep coming encountering these karmic people that keep coming back into his energy, that are his enemies, that he needs to keep away from him instead of letting them into his life. Like, literally, can you imagine that he's married to Hailey, and Hailey done killed him in a previous life? You with the person that killed you in a previous life, literally. Like, no, so no, he didn't fulfill his contract. So I asked about, more about how it's all playing out in his current life. Pay attention, difficult road, and release judgment in reverse. They're telling him that he needs to pay attention, be more judgmental. Stop just being so willy-nilly free, letting people do whatever and do whatever to him, following any cause, being a slave to just anything. It's okay to say, I don't like this. This is dark, disgusting, and nasty, and I don't want to go down this road with the difficult road here. You're supposed to be paying attention and being smart. He was being given signs. It says both the subtle ones and the ones that can't be missed. These signs will help you see how to best move forward in order to live your best life. Spirit of perseverance, being prepared for great things, walking the hard path in life. He was always going to walk that hard path, but he was supposed to pay attention to the gentle nudges that let him know you don't have to walk no difficult path. You can walk an easy path. We're going to put you on this difficult road first, but only so that you pay attention, start following, connect to your intuition, start listening and taking leaps of faith, not being afraid to judge shit for what it is and say, yo, this is not good for me, and walk away. That's how it's playing out in his current life. What are the contracts that he carried over? Secrets of Time, like I said, and Universal Harmony. Now he was sent from that past life right into his current life with the Secrets of Time and Universal Harmony. They was like, no, you gotta rebalance that. No, you gotta fix that right now. It says divine time and cyclical rhythms, patience and trust. Time is not your enemy but your ally. Everything unfolds in a perfect moment. So they was like, no. We sent you back the last time to close out that cycle that you had that was from 5-6 lifetimes previous. You never closed it out. So now we gotta send you right back again because you gotta close the cycle out and you gotta do it. You gotta make the right choice. I'm sorry. Divine timing is at play here. And this is also telling me that they purposely put him back in with the same spouse. It was all so that he could meet back with Hailey and Selena. Meet back with both of these ladies and make the right choice. Either to close out the karmic cycle with Selena. Definitely, he wasn't even supposed to marry or get next to Hailey. He was really just supposed to close out the karmic cycle with Selena and either move forward, they separate ways, go their own ways and close out that cycle, or find a way to stick it out and be together. But I really don't think they were supposed to be together in this current life. They had another life where they was going to come back and be together. For now, they were supposed to just close out the cycle from the past one and then let each other experience something new when it came to a spouse. They both were supposed to be experiencing something new. He was not supposed to be experiencing nothing from his past life. That's why they put those women in his life, to see if Justin Bieber was going to be smart enough to stay away from these chicks. No, he wasn't supposed to deal with none of those old spouses, none of those old friends, none of those old people. He was supposed to leave them all alone. His soul recognizes their soul. And if he may pretend that he's not aware of it, Hailey and Selena and them is not pretending. They all know, Kim and Chris and all of them, they know. And they're going to keep exploiting him because they know what he's accepted in the past. He's got to be smart to overcome that and say, I'm not willing to accept that. I'm not willing to take that for my life. That's not okay with me. And so, yeah, they that's how it's affecting his current life, is that they put those same lovers and spouses back and those same people to see what it is that he was going to do in terms of love and in terms of going after his own wish fulfillment, his own happiness, standing in his own power, being a priest, even if that meant that he was going to be alone. And then lastly, I asked, how is this going to affect his next incarnation when he comes back? Biblical, food and hunger, medicine man or woman. Thank God, he gonna be on his divine nature. He's gonna be somebody who possibly goes through, poverty, who's not gonna be rich. He's not gonna be no rich guy, but he is gonna be a priest, and he is gonna be a medicine man or woman who is connected to his spiritual gifts and his higher gifts and what it is that he's supposed to be doing here. But he ain't gonna be in the spotlight. No more celebrity for him, because that's not even what he's supposed to be doing. Right, so he's gonna be not the public celebrity, but the private celebrity. He's gonna be the true Miss Cleo, medicine woman or man that he was supposed to do, and really following his relationship with the divine nature and be that walker, that angel. He is an angel, a fallen angel, and he's gonna have to stand in his power and stand in that angelic nature of his and do what it is that God sent him here to do. I'm looking at this dream catcher. It's like he's not gonna have no choice but to believe in his own self and his own faith, because they're gonna set him up in a situation where he's having to work against all odds, and he ain't gonna have no choice but to believe in God to overcome this circumstance. All right, I don't know. I feel like he's gonna be of some sort of Asian, Native American, something of that sort. The same. He's not gonna be no simple just white guy like how he is now. All right, and then we have worth waiting for, healing family issues and reconciliation. So they're gonna put them same women back in his life and see if he's gonna be smart and let divine timing play out in his love life. They're gonna see that they listen. Okay, they want him to know that that Selena is somebody that is worth waiting for. He's not even gonna get her in this next life, I don't think. Unless he heals certain family issues and forgive his parents and forgive, the fact of all of that stuff that he's got to deal with. They're going to put the same scenario back into his life again. But instead of him being the big celebrity and being Justin Bieber, he's going to be poor. He's not going to have it. He's going to be in his divine nature. And if he does reconcile with his family issues and do everything that he's supposed to do, then they're saying that he will get the love with Selena that he's been waiting for. But if not, he just got to keep waiting. But he's got to learn those certain lessons and know how to stand on his own first before he can fully have this relationship. But divine timing is at play, and I do believe that he will have her. And he will get to have a life where they get to be lovers and they get to be happy together, and they can do it in the public eye, and they don't got to do it behind closed doors or hide. Like, it's going to be beautiful. They're going to have it in one lifetime again, which they've already had it in a different lifetime. They're going to get that again. This is not the lifetime for that, all right, as far as what I can see. This is the lifetime for him to focus on finding his own individual happiness. Stop self-sabotaging with this photo proof 10 of Cups grandparent and saboteur. It's like he's always getting the proof, right, of his spiritual nature, of the fact that people have been taking advantage of him, using him. Like, he's spiritually in tune, and he knows that he's supposed to choose himself and his own happiness and wish fulfillment. But instead, he lets these people strong arm him. He continues to slave even in his current life and self-sabotage and do things against his own will. And so they're telling him that if he can conquer that and choose his own happiness, his own wish fulfillment, and do what really makes him happy, then he'll be able to grow old, right? He'll actually get what he wants. So we'll have to see how this all plays out. But as of right now, they're saying that as long as he keeps self-sabotaging and he don't, with this advocate in reverse, stand up for himself and talk about what really happened so that he can be an advocate for other young guys coming up in the industry and not allow themselves to be taken advantage of, that's the only way for him to really fulfill his contract in his life, is to be a healer. is to tell everybody what was going on between the diddler and him and all of these women, Chris, Kim, all of this stuff. Advocate for himself, stand tall, like show that compassion to himself in the world. Yeah, become a detective, like literally, dude. Literally, he's got to be like a freaking crime stopper out here. Like, this is what they got going on. Let me tell y'all all the information that I know. He can't be afraid to speak and sing like a canary. And they say if he do that, then he'll close out the rest of his days more at peace with this hermit, more happy and more in solitude. And he'll definitely feel like he avenged his own personal nature, and he would have fulfilled his contract, and that would be doing a good deed. God would be proud of him for him to do that, and he would be back in a more compassionate, benevolent light. I mean, and God does have a lot of understanding and compassion for him, being that they know all of the stuff that he's been through. But they're saying that if he was to really speak out, that would be even better. And not only that, he would notice that a lot of people do support him and care about him and want to see him do good, and his reputation will not be changed as much as he thinks that it is going to be changed, because that's his main issue, is how people are going to judge him and say like, oh, he's an ex-addict, he was doing these dark things, he was doing these ritualistic stuff, like. But unfortunately, the truth is with this virgin that his innocence was taken advantage of, and so, you know, it was almost like it was his karma for the way that he, you know, took advantage of other people's innocence in a past life when it came to being a spiritual charlatan. So now that's happening back to him. But if he could see the bigger picture of it with this visionary and dilettante, then he can overcome it. All right, if he take back control of his life and speak up and not allow this to hold him back anymore, and look at the bigger picture of things, that, you know, he went through all of this so that he could speak, so that he could be an advocate for other people, so that he could say, hey, can anybody else relate? I went through this. You don't have to go through this. If he could really stand in his power and do that and wear his heart on his sleeve here and tell his story, then, you know, it'll be a lot of beautiful, it'll be a much happier and peaceful ending for Justin Bieber's life. And I feel like he would be happier as he grows older. All right. So that's what I have as far as Justin Bieber's past life reading. Y'all, I think I'm getting them down pat where we doing them faster and it's not taking me so long. So let me know what y'all think. Hopefully I answered all of y'all questions that y'all might have had, you know, as far as his past life. Let me know what y'all think of it. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you guys on the next one. I love y'all.